In 3, 2, 1. One, here we go. Just take it in there. Wing on, wing on, wing on. Hey! Keep going, keep going. Come on! Right there. It's not done! I love this job.
Hello and welcome to the SailGP Season 2 preview show. I'm your host, Ed Leigh, and we're here to talk about everything that's been going on in the world of SailGP. We're back after our inaugural season, and we've added an F50 to our lineup for 2020, and we also welcome 2 new nations and an Olympic sailing legend. But before we get to them, let's take a look at exactly what makes SailGP so great.
3, 2, 1.
A brand new sailing adventure.
1 minute 35. What are you thinking? 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Looks like they're gone. No, the tip of the wing is in the water.
It doesn't get any more extreme than that.
Right on it, straight over the top of Japan. That is very close once again. Draper just getting thrown out of his position there.
Still plenty to play for him. Here we go, boys.
They are coming down here in an absolute beauty of a gust.
GBR's capsized. Yeah!
It's time to get up and party. Australia is the 2019 SailGP champion.
Hopefully that's got your heart rate up, and there was a fantastic cameo by the Shark. I'm joined now by members of all 7 of SailGP's teams, and let's do the roll call because it's pretty impressive. Starting at this end, we've got the newest and incidentally the youngest helmsman in the championship. He's from Denmark for the SailGP team, presented by Rockwell, Nikolaj Sejersted. Then we've got the America's Cup winner, Rome Kirby, for the United States. We've got 2-time Olympic medalist and the runner-up in Season 1, Nathan Outridge, at the wheel for Japan. Then we've got the Olympic and current SailGP champion, Tom Slingsby, for Australia. Then it's the 4-time Olympic champion, Ben Ainsley, sailing for the Great Britain SailGP team, presented by Ineos. Then we've got the 2020 Olympian for Spain, Florian Trittel, and the Olympian and 4-time world champion, Billy Besson of France. Nikolaj and Florian are representing the new teams for SailGP, Denmark and Spain, while Ben has taken over the helming duties for the British boat. So alongside Nathan, Rome and Billy, they're all trying to figure out how to beat this man in the middle, Australia's Tom Slingsby, nearly unbeatable last season, and he gets to start 2020 on home waters. Tom, can we take a little look at your back there, please? Yeah, there's a rather large target on that. How excited are you about defending your title in 2020?
We're really excited. Yeah, we do have a target on our back. We were successful last season and now we're defending our title on Sydney Harbour, home team, home event. It's really exciting though. We can't wait to get going.
Nathan, runner-up in Season 1. How difficult is it going to be for you to chase down Tom this season?
Yeah, it's a new season. We've lost a few team members from last year and we've got a few new guys on board, which has been great. You know, we've got a few days under our belt, you know, doing a bit of sailing, and I think what we're going to see is more people challenging Tom and his team. I think last year might have been a bit of a 2-horse race for a lot of it. Everyone here's got a lot more experience now, and I think everyone's going to sail at a higher level. So I think Tom's going to be looking over his shoulder, probably both shoulders, for most of this season. Okay, let's hear from a couple of our new teams. Ben, you're new to the championship this year.
Yeah, look, it's first time for me racing in SailGP, but the team I'm with are all raced last season and you know, second to none. So I'm really the rookie in our team, if you like. But the training we've been doing has been fantastic. It's some of the best sailing I think I've ever done in my career out here on Sydney Harbour. So we're very excited about getting into this circuit and just having some great racing with these guys.
You had some experience in the F50 in its previous incarnation. How difficult has it been to find your feet in the boat this time?
It's definitely helped, having sailed the boats as they were 3 or 4 years ago, but they've changed markedly since then. I'm incredibly impressed by the upgrades that have gone into these boats in terms of the performance, sort of straight line performance, the manoeuvring, and the systems that we use to control these boats. It's a real step up, and it makes for fantastic racing.
Okay. Nikolai, what does it mean for you to be representing Denmark?
Oh, it's a massive honor, and it's a big thing. You know, it's always very cool to represent your country, and especially on a project like this on the SailGP, it's awesome.
You've got Holger Dansk on the sail. Can you give us a little insight into the significance of him as a mascot for the Danish team?
It seems to be a very good choice, you know, in the wing. There's definitely a lot of talk about him and the design. So yeah, obviously happy with the design that people think looks good. Holger is an old story in Denmark. You know, he's watching the country and he rises if it's ever needed. That's sort of a old school story, and it's an old country. So we're sort of sticking to the traditions and carrying on the Danish DNA in our team as well.
Okay. I know there's been a lot of focus in the Danish team around sustainability as well. Can you talk us through that?
Obviously, sustainability is a big part of the SailGP as well, and the Danish team, and having a sponsor, like a sustainable sponsor like Rockwool, who's producing insulation, it's a massive part of our campaign, and we are focusing a lot on that. So it is something we'll put a big light on in the whole season and keep carrying out.
Okay, we asked Ben the same question. How quickly have you been able to get comfortable in the boat?
Oh, I don't think we're comfortable yet. You know, obviously we can get around the course safely, and we can, you know, sort of compete with the other teams, but we're very far from having, you know, sort of the same top level as they have. So it will be a few days before we're sort of consistently fighting for the top spots. So yeah, we're still learning. As long as we're improving every day, that's the most important thing to me.
Okay. Florian, on paper, the Spanish team looks like one of the youngest teams, but you've actually spent an enormous amount of time together already, haven't you?
Yeah, we come from the Youth America's Cup, and we're all a bunch of Spanish young sailors who have joined for Bermuda. And since then, we've taken on many different goals and events, and now we're here, the SailGP circuit. And along these legends, we're the newest team to the season 2. And yeah, we've been here doing our best the last 2 months to get everything sorted to be on the start line here in Sydney. And I'd say, yeah, we're pretty happy with the level we have and keep pushing.
I'd say from the way the test races went, you should be very, very happy.
Yeah, we've had the opportunity to be on the same start line for some testing, some practice race, and yeah, we can obviously not guarantee anything, but we saw more or less where we are at. And I can say that we can be happy and pushing, working in the same line as we've been doing the last few months.
Russell Coutts has been in Sydney for the last week. He's been out talking about the upcoming championship and obviously the race this weekend. And he's been earmarking the Spanish SailGP team as one of the dark horses, one of the teams to watch. Does that put pressure on you?
No, I don't think so. The way we focus think we want to go into the regatta is to keep expectations really low, dream big, but stay humble. So we really want to do our best, but not just because we win a race think that we can be beating these guys who have been into the boat for many, many years and are obviously great sailors also in other boats. So yeah, keep it easy and do as good as we can.
Nathan, you said earlier on that it was a 2-horse race to all intents and purposes last year. Do you see it as a much more open field this year? Do you think it's going to be 5, 6, even 7 teams in there?
Yeah, I think it'll be way more open. I think a lot of people have had a lot of time to analyse what they did last year and what the other teams were doing. And I think, you know, with the training that people have been able to get here in Sydney and the practice racing that we've been able to do, it's much tighter. You know, I think, ask Tom how he went today. I don't think he didn't win a race. So I think that is a huge indication of what's coming. You know, the Spanish won the very first practice race today. You know, Florian's over there being very humble, but they sail very well today. And I think that, you know, we'll see what the weekend brings and we'll see what the season brings, but I think we'll have a much tighter field this year.
How frustrating is it for you, Tom, having to share all of the data that essentially made you so dominant last year? Everyone now has got access to all of that data.
Look, it's different, but we knew the rules when we signed up. I think it's a really good thing for our sport. It sort of raises the level of everyone. But yeah, we came here thinking we're pretty confident. We hit the water and we're doing really good boat handling, really good manoeuvres. Team was working well. And then we hit the practice racing today, and the overtaking lanes that we had last season were not there. We were in the middle of the fleet and doing really good. We didn't even touch down in one of the races. We did a full dry race and we didn't overtake one boat. We finished 4th in that race. So it shows that the level is so much higher, and now everyone's boat handling so good that the overtaking lanes are a lot harder to come by.
And I mean, from your perspective, Ben, as one of the newcomers, how much of an asset is that data? Have you been reeling through it all to work out the settings and how you can get the best out of the boat? Or are you leaning fairly heavily on Ian and Goobs?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Goobs and Parko.
Relying more on the guys on the boat than maybe the data. I mean, I think, as Tom says, it's a really neat approach to the sport to allow all of the teams to access that and understand where the performance gains are, and collectively you get better and the racing gets closer. And I guess as a competition, you want that. You want there to be lots of place changes and many different teams to be able to win races or win different, competitions or regattas. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
And Rome, I know that you're here in your second year. How difficult is it in terms of sailing Sydney Harbour? Obviously, Tom and Nathan have a bit of an advantage in terms of local knowledge, but do you feel like you've got a feel for the harbour a bit more now?
I wouldn't say we have a good feel for it. Definitely not. We struggled a little bit today getting off the start line, but no, it's definitely not an easy place to sail. We're obviously sailing on a pretty short racetrack, and it's close racing. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say we've got a really good handle on it. We'll get there.
Nikolai, what about you? First time sailing in here?
No, I've sailed here before, but it's definitely first time sailing these sorts of boats in here. So it's a big challenge for us, and we have to focus on the boat handling at the same time, looking out the boat. So we have a bit on, but we're slowly getting there.
And the F50s aren't moving slowly, and there's 7 of them out on the water at the same time. Is that an issue in any way?
Oh, I think it could be an issue if you didn't watch out. So obviously we're taking our precautions and not getting too close to the others until we're quite confident. I think it's all about knowing when to push and when to be smart, and we don't need to push too hard these days. There will be times where we can do that, but for now we just gotta keep the boat and the crew in one piece and then slowly learning as we go.
Okay, we're going to take a short break now, but when we come back, we're going to be learning more about the Spanish team and the rivalries that are building between the rest of the teams. We'll see you in a second. Welcome back to the SailGP preview show. This is the championship where we put the world's best sailors in the world's fastest class of racing boat, the F50. I've got 7 of the sailors from the 7 different nations represented here. We've got Denmark, the US, Japan, Australia, Great Britain, Spain and France. And Florian, we'll start with you. The newest addition to the SailGP fold of nations, and you've had a very short amount of time to put your team together, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's been, I think, less than 2 months since everything started for us. And I think the team has made a huge effort in getting some training days in New Zealand, in Northport, assembling the show crew, and getting everything going so that we're here on the start line today in Sydney.
Well, it certainly looks really impressive out on the water. What do you think are the most impressive, the most important skill sets that you've harnessed up to this point? Is it the communication between the team, or is it the ability to sail the boat very, very quickly, as you've obviously harnessed already?
I think it's probably, in our case, the ability to feel the boat, to sail the boat as fast as possible. And analyzing a little bit from my point of view, probably it's due to us being involved in the Olympic campaigns in small boats. That's where you have the feel for the boat, and that's where we sort of, maybe since all our team is involved in Olympic campaigns, get good gains out of that.
Okay, Nath, you mentioned earlier on that you've got fresh blood on the boat. How difficult is it to introduce new members to the team?
Well, we're very lucky that the 2 new crew members we have on board aren't necessarily new crew members. You know, we've got Leo, who was a grinder for us last season, so he did nearly all the racing with us. He's now into the flight control position. And basically throughout all of last year, we were just documenting everything that Goobs and Parko knew and talked about. So our coach did a great job of documenting all of that, exchanging all that information. So now it's about putting that information into practice. And Aidan Menzies, who's trimming the wing for us, he was a part of our shore crew last year. He was a reserve sailor in case anything ever happened to Goobs. And again, he has the theories on what to do, and we've just spent the last week here in Sydney just giving him a chance to learn and get that experience. And we basically just broke it all the way down into baby steps. Okay, let's just go back to basics, sail in a straight line, learn how to harness the power of the wing, learn how the flight control works, go through all the different settings, and just let the boys learn. And I think it's a good way that we've started off the season, and hopefully we get some results from it.
It's interesting hearing you talk about that. Did you feel that way in the first season run? Was that how you were approaching sailing the F50 with your team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Nathan's had a lot of time driving the F50, so I was learning on the fly too. You know, our whole group was learning a lot last year. So it was, you know, and then obviously Riley got hurt, and so we kind of had some crew changes in the middle of the year. So we've got a long way to go, but we'll get there.
Okay, with the Danish and the Spanish teams coming in, does it add a bit of pressure for you? Do you feel like as one of the established teams that you've now got to perform above and beyond them?
No, I think as long as we keep, you know, sticking to what, you know, as long as we're learning and getting better, I have no doubt. I've got full confidence in our group, and I think we'll be just fine.
Billy, I've heard that you have a new, more aggressive strategy for this year. Can you talk us through that?
It's not aggressive, but you know, we have just in season 1 we have make a lot of different weather on different event, and we know now more the boat like 1 year ago. So now we can push more the boat as you can, and we can make. We are more comfortable in boat, and we can do more maneuver and stay more on the air, like the first one, the Australian, last year. But I think this year there is a lot of boat make a big upgrade, and I think it will be very fantastic because everybody today was very short, and I think for this season it will be fantastic season.
Well, at the end of last season in Marseille, Tom came on the boat with you and you had that little exchange. Did you learn, how much did you learn from that, and have you been able to put it all into practice?
Very much. I learned a lot because, you know, he know the boat very massive, like me, and he's very cool because he tell me a lot of things about what can I do for a very best tack, and I learned for any times to try to make it a good rotation about that, and I try to maybe have another question for him just after that, to push my hands where I can put my hands for make a good rotation. But after, I think it's really nice, guys, to upgrade to our boat for this season.
Okay, Ben, coming out and looking at the bigger picture of SailGP for a moment, why did you choose to come on to SailGP this year? Because it's not like you haven't got enough on your plate already.
Yeah, I guess just watching the inaugural season and seeing the competition, the boats, the venues, and you know, I think it's the best racing circuit in the sport right now. And as a racer, you want to be involved. So that's very basic, really. That's it. You want to go racing at the highest level. This is it. And
how quickly do you expect to be competitive?
It's you know, we've got to be realistic about the quality of the teams that we're going up against, but you know, like I said, the team I'm with is second to none. So if I can get to grips with the boat and the style of racing, then you know we can be competitive straight off the bat.
And you're up against one of the most competitive men I think I've ever come across.
A ranger, an Aussie ranger. It doesn't get any worse than that.
That's true. We're dangerous. Look out.
Ooh, bit of friction. Tom, you said in Marseille last year that all of the prize money, the 1 million, was going straight back in. You're going to reinvest it in coming back better for 2020. What have you done to prepare for this
I didn't
season?
do that at all. We celebrated hard. No,
We blew it all.
we blew it all. I guarantee you we did. No, we split it between the team. And yeah, everyone in our team, we've got 17 people in our team, and everyone got some. Yeah, for a long time there, I'd only bought a GoPro out of my cut of the prize money, but now I've spent the rest of it. So yeah, I need to top up the bank account this year, hopefully.
Okay, what have you done? You've got an unchanged team ahead of this year, so you've probably got the most settled platform in terms of human resources. Have you moved forward anywhere else? What have you focused on?
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to be complacent and say we won last season, we'll keep the same team, but that wasn't the approach. It was, we really looked inside the team and said, how much can we improve? Are we hitting our level, or can we keep upgrading? And I honestly think we're sailing at probably 70% of the capability of these boats at the moment. Like in 5 years, what we're going to be doing is in these boats will be so far above where we are now. So I think we've got so much to improve. But I think we have got the same team, but I think we can keep improving, and yeah, the level of everyone else has gotten so much higher, and we've got to stay ahead somehow, and we've got to keep thinking of ways to stay ahead.
Okay, sat in the position that you are in, we started the show by saying you've got a target on your back. Out of these 6 other teams, who do you see as the biggest threats for this year?
I think Ben's team. I mean, Ben's team is, take Ben out of it, it's pretty much an all-star team without Ben, and then you add the greatest Olympic sailor of all time into it. He's got two of the most experienced wing trimmer and flight controllers, and then amazing grinders on the team. And then you add Ben, who's no slouch, and that's a super strong team. And look, we've done a little bit of practice racing against each other, and they're already at the front. They beat us today in practice. We got beaten by a lot of teams today, and we haven't really been beaten like that since we started. So we've got to keep improving, and we've got to try to think outside the box to stay ahead.
Well, listening to that, Florian, Nikolai, how intimidating is that? You're the youngest teams. You're coming into, as Tom said, a pretty heavy-hitting lineup, and you've got to deliver now. But it certainly doesn't look like you're intimidated at this stage.
Well, I think we have a different fight to in front of us. We don't quite need to fight with Tom and Ben and the other guys right now. We just need to improve and sail on the boat better and better, and then obviously, hopefully, that will carry us on to be a competitive team quite quickly. But we just need to look inside the boat right now and not look too much about the results on the practice racing. I think that'll be a mistake of us to do that.
What would your goal be if you're looking at the whole season? I imagine it's to be competitive and perform well in your home race in Copenhagen.
Absolutely, Copenhagen is going to be a big event for us, and I think it's fair to say we improved a lot in the last few days as well. So I think we are sort of getting around the racetrack good enough so we can compete and steal some points here and there. And by Copenhagen, hopefully we can be a contender. If we have a good event, we can be all the way up there fighting for some of the top spots.
What about you, Florian? There doesn't seem to be too much intimidation for you. You look like you're fairly confident and comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, we don't want to set any limits, so we just take it day by day. We had a wonderful day today and the last few weeks. And our goal is just grow as a team and hopefully be able to beat the top guys, even if they are pretty intimidating.
Ron, you've got 2 home races this year. Obviously, you know the Hudson, you know San Fran relatively well. Are you going to target those as the races to really set your stall out and begin your charge for the championship?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 2 home events. We love having 2 home events. New York was fantastic last year. San Francisco is an awesome venue. It's a long season. you know, a lot can happen in the course of a season. But yeah, we'd love to have a good showing at our home events.
Nathan, do you feel like, after what Tom said about Ben being his main rival, do you feel like you can kind of slide under the radar this year a little bit?
I think to a degree. Hopefully we can slide under the radar, but you know, Ben's got two of my boys from last year, so I know what those boys are capable of. I know how good they are, and I think Ben's going to go just fine this year from what I've seen. And I think that there's be a bit of fighting between Tom and Ben. I've already seen it, and I think the rest of us are looking forward to watching that and trying to nip some points here and there.
Oh, a nice little bit of friction. I think that ends us very well. Thank you all so much for your time. I wish you all the best of luck out on the water this Friday and Saturday. Can't wait to see you in action. So that's what we have to look forward to. SailGP is getting underway this February, the 28th and 29th on Sydney Harbour. And then the next races after that are San Francisco, New York, Cowes in the United Kingdom and Copenhagen. And don't forget, you can follow all of the best of the action on the SailGP app.